All right, this is Mr. Wyrick. Going to go through the notes for real quick. We're looking at 1.2, and this is normally like 3 days worth of stuff. We're going to do it in 2, so we're cutting a little bit out, but here we are exploring variables. So the very first thing is data collection. You guys did this with me in class, but if you haven't done it, you should go ahead and fill this out. We're using everybody's, so there's not really a question on there about what class period, and I'll take off the names. I just want to have the names on there to make sure everybody's kind of filling it out. Then we're going to talk about this. The data is the set of values that can be sorted by variables, and the variable is a word to describe any attribute or characteristic that can be measured. You've used this in math before where we've had X and Y, and we use it for the unknown, but when we're talking about statistics, variables are those things that it's like, we can measure this, we can take a look at this, we can see what's going on here, we can recognize trends, patterns, all that kind of stuff. So we have 2 kinds of variables that we're talking about right now, quantitative and categorical. The quantitative, pretty obviously, are the ones that are going to be numbers, and not just numbers, but ones that we can do mathematical operations with. Okay, if you're ranking things like first, second, or third, it doesn't make any sense to average those. It doesn't make any sense to add or subtract those. So even though it's numbers, it's ordinal numbers, and it doesn't make any sense to do that. So that's really just a categorization on that. Okay. Let's see. Your assignment was a card sort. I'll try to post like a key for that if I can. So day 2, recall the variables that we entered in the data yesterday, which ones would be quantitative, which ones would be categorical. If we are looking, I'll get that pulled up real quick. Here's our questionnaire that you guys are filling out. So your age in years, that's quantitative. We can average that together. It would make sense to do so. Your height, also quantitative. Foot length, quantitative. Allergies, yes or no, that's categorical data. Just, do you have allergies, do you not? We can make a bar graph that represents how many people, or a pie chart on this one would be pretty good. Birth month, again, you can assign a number to these, but it doesn't make sense to average them. Oh, the average month that people were born in was somewhere between June and July. It's not a month, okay? So this would be categorical data as well. How do you get to school? This one's categorical. Do you get a ride with somebody? Do you ride the bus? Do you walk? Do you ride your bike? How long does it take to school? This right here, this is quantitative data. And we can sort this in different ways, but this is definitely quantitative data. The superpower is categorical. The favorite social media platform, that's obviously categorical data, and preferred gaming platform is categorical data. So we've definitely got both, but you should be able to tell what those are pretty quick. Okay, so moving on from that, let me get clicked back over here on the slide. There we go. Okay, when we do data displays, they kind of match up. When we're doing categorical, it's going to be pie charts that look like this, bar graphs that look like this, but the bar graph is just a frequency bar graph. It's not necessarily, lined up the same as the other one. And the other one that you've probably been calling a bar graph is actually something that we're going to call a histogram. We do have a dot plot too. The dot plot, again, can make sense for categorical just in showing frequency that an answer was selected. Then we have our quantitative data. We have the box and whisker plots, the box plots, the histograms, which we're going to talk about some histograms. We're going to show you how to make some histograms. And then a different kind of dot plot, again, that's showing some frequencies. So you got to be careful. Those dot plots can kind of go on both of them. You just really have to pay attention. So what you're supposed to do here, and I'll kind of go through this real quick, okay? You need to use Google Sheets to make a pie chart and a bar graph of some of the categorical data. This is not going to be something that I can come around and check for you, so I'm going to need you to make sure that you know how to do this. Practice doing this because this will come up on the test, okay? So here we go. Let's see. If I go to Let me pull up here, exploring. Oh, there's my exploring variables. See if I have one of these. Yes, this one has 98 responses. So let's go to this response sheet. So if I'm looking at this, again, there's some corrections that would need to be made. But for this right here, what is your birth month? So I'm going to highlight these and come down like this. And they're really trying to make it a lot easier for me right here, okay? So I've got all this stuff for what month were you born in? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to insert a chart. So then on this chart, there it is. I have a pie chart, and it shows what percentage everyone was born in which month. So September is this big slice over here. It's 12. October and December, 11.2%. June, 10%. January, 7%. February, only 2%. November, 7%. Okay. And if I come here to the three dots, I can edit the chart. I can choose a different kind of chart. I could have a column chart. That's what they call their bar graph, is the column chart. I can have it do like this one. They call it a scatter chart. This would be more like our dot plot, although we'd probably want the dots going up to it. And again, on the column one, you can kind of have some fun with how these look. A bubble chart, requires at least 3 columns. Okay, never mind. But doing the pie graph, you can actually make the pie graph look kind of 3D. So it'd be a fun little graphic in there, okay? But if you're doing pie charts, if you're doing bar graphs, like this is how you do it. You select your column, you make sure that you know what's going on. You could rename the stuff in here, but you should be able to make these and move them around and do stuff with them so that it's kind of helpful to you, okay? If we're looking at another one of these, let me just click off of this real fast. Oh, good. Everybody was putting minutes. Oh, okay. So I have some data here on, let's take this and move it. I have some data here on foot length in centimeters. Some of this is obviously wrong. Nobody has a 7 centimeter long foot, but I'm just going to copy some of these, and I'm going to come into Desmos, just like I was working on yesterday, and I'm going to call this graph F, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. So I have all of these elements in my list here for F, and I'm going to do a histogram. And again, I just spell the word. Histogram, parentheses, capital F. Here we are. And so as I move, I can see how all of my foot lengths are listed on there. Now, your bin alignment is something that's interesting here. I'm going to want that to always go to the left. But once I do that, I can have something that looks kind of like this. And instead of grouping everybody together by ones, I can actually come here on the bin width and I can say, I want, and this is something that will work again with. Okay, so don't feel like this is your only chance to see this. But I can say, I want everybody within 5 centimeters. Okay, definitely changes the look. So within these 5 centimeters, from 25 centimeters to 30 centimeters, that's where almost everybody, the majority of the people are kind of falling here. If I change that to 3, again, it's going to be here that I'm seeing this. This is 24 to 27. That's where the majority is. So you can definitely change how this looks if you make those little changes to, my bin width of 1, obviously there was a bunch of people right here. But when I change that to like maybe even 10, if I'm only every 10 centimeters, it's really the majority of people right in here. And then a made up one over here. Your foot is not only 10 centimeters long. But that's kind of what we're looking at today. You can do the box plot here and kind of see how that matches up the same way. Make sure you put some instructions in your notes about how to do the pie charts, how to do the histogram, because you will have this video to refer to, but it's probably easier to have some stuff written in your notes. And then we're going to have a Delta Math. This is funny. This used to be at the beginning of the year, so I had to remind people, go to Delta Math through Clever, or it's not going to connect you to the school. It's going to look like you don't have assignments. The day 3 assignment, which we're going to skip, it was actually like you had to go through and create like 4 different graphs and put them onto a Google Doc using all of the results from the questionnaire. I'm just going to have you do that kind of practicing on day 2, and then we'll have a Delta Math assignment, and I'll get that constructed here in a bit. Have a good weekend, have a good spring break, and we'll see you on the other side of it.